So this section is really sort of a bit of a fun section. It's kind of the pedals that you could use that aren't really essential, but they're very nice for a bit of icing on the cake. I'm going to start with this, first of all, a dynamic wah, which is basically a glorified touch wah, and I'm a big fan of that kind of funk touch wah kind of sound. So it's called an AW3 just here, and it varies depending on whether you're going to put a clean sound into it or a dirty sound. So for now I've just got a little bit of compression going on with my CS3, and I'm going to take it into the front of the dynamic wah, and it's going straight into the front of the amp, and the amp is set nice and clean. So here's the amp sound. So if we put the touch wah on and play some funky chords, let's see what it sounds like. Okay. Kind of cool. Obviously you can vary the sensitivity of it just here with this sensitivity knob, and you can get some kind of different. Because it's a dynamic wah, what it receives, it will respond differently. So if I go from the clean sound from the compressor to maybe putting the blues driver in front of it, and I've got to adjust my sensitivity rate down a bit, it's getting more signal, so less sensitivity, and we kind of can get a nice. Also, if I kind of pick not quite as hard, you kind of then turn the guitar up. So it's very, very sensitive to picking. And just as when you think it can't get any better, it does. Just like our super shifter, we've got an expression pedal in. So I just have handy right here my expression pedal. I'm going to plug that in right there. Now suddenly you get a lot more kind of control, and you turn the whole thing into a kind of a wah. It's a whole wah kind of thing going on now. All the actual wah sounds can be varied depending on what kind of frequencies you want to bring out. I could kind of use this manual button here, which kind of gives you a different frequency. If I take this down, let's see what that does. If I can bring it all the way down and then kind of check the. Gives you slightly less sweep. So back to the kind of the clean sound, and we can kind of try those funky chords again with using the expression pedal. very cool. So again, if you buy one of these, not only are you getting a touch wah, but you're also getting an actual wah-wah, so you don't have to kind of do the wah-wah thing. You can actually get an expression pedal and use it as a wah-wah. So it's very, very cool indeed. Okay, moving along, I've put in here something called a super octave. And the Octave has been around for a long, long time. I always associate an octave pedal with the brown kind of colour, which it always is. And this is a super octave in that it kind of, the only difference between this and the usual octave from the initial issue of it is that it's got a kind of a drive part of it in. So if I kick it on, I like that setting because it's very reminiscent of something called a ring modulator, which causes chaos. It just kind of gives you these kind of rogue random notes above and below the note. And I've kind of kicked in my blues driver for but I like that kind of randomness of that particular setting on the Octave. So that's kind of the setting where it's got actually a distortion and an octave at the same time. Even though I'm using the blues driver, if I get rid of it, you can actually hear that it's actually driving it as well. So if I click to the normal setting, which we've known and loved over the years, that's just kind of like you know, you can have your octave down from it. So. What we can do, we can balance out low octave with our direct signal. So that button is just there. That's the direct level. If I back it off, that's down the octave. So around that, you don't want to overdo it for, that's kind of cool. It tracks really well, so you kind of, no matter how fast you play it, it'll stay with you. So let's have some fun. Let's kind of maybe do the touch wah with the Octave and see what. And I'm going to put it on the drive setting, and we can maybe cause some chaos. So throughout these various pedal setups I've been using, you're going to see usually my compressor at the front there. I just want to talk a little bit more about what the compressor is doing. So it's kind of, you can hear it a lot more if we're going to do some kind of groovy funk stuff, and you can hear that it kind of really brings the guitar alive. If I play that part without the compressor in, mean, it's all right, but the way it kind of, the compressor smooths. It smooths everything out. Basically, it's squashing and pushing at the same time, squashing and bringing up the level. So it smooths out those kind of nasty spikes you might have in your playing, and it kind of, because it's squashing, it sustains the note. So you can actually get, with a nice clean sound, extra sustain from a compressor. So I strongly recommend you kind of check out a compressor, because it can change your whole playing for the next 20 or 30 years.